Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to the Duo's Corner. I am one half of this legendary lineup, DJ, Donell, Dzilla, whatever you want to call it. But enough of all that. Let's get into Raw. Breaking it down, June 9th, 2025 from Phoenix Arena. And when I tell you, this Raw was amazing. And you know what's really funny? Before we get into it, a lot of the shows are really better than the pay-per-views. So let's just get to it. Becky kicks off the show, celebrating her Intercontinental Championship win, which she really fucking didn't need at Money in the Bank. Clown and Lyra, like always, talking shit. Lyra come out like, hey, bro, I'm going to catch this round. And then Bayley, BBL Bayley, returns from injury to drop an unexpected Rose Plan attempt after months off due to Becky's backstage attack. Bayley's silence said it all. She's back for revenge and ready for all the smoke. Becky is not going. Becky runs, and hey, this is gonna be a hell of a rivalry. But I personally feel like it's at the expense of Lyra. You know, I get that eventually Bayley was gonna come through, but it just really makes Lyra look like a goober, and even her face was like kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why are you here? But I don't want this to turn into a triple threat match at either Night of Champions or SummerSlam or whatever. I like if you're gonna book it, you know, you could have Bayley try to run it at Night of Champions, something like that, but it needs to be one-on-one conclusively Lyra versus Becky. I don't know how this is gonna play out. I'm happy Bayley's back, but man, let's not trash Lyra. She put in that work. There were great matches on this night, man. You had AJ Styles defeating Chad Gable, classic Styles clash, hidden style clash for the dub. You know, these guys are top tier workers in the business, great wrestling. Boom. You had Queen and King qualifier matches. Roxy snuck. Kyrie Sane got the win. She moves on, and Sami Zayn advances. This is great. And then there was a segment with Karrion Cross saying, hey, bro, you did what you needed to do. You took that distraction from LA Knight. You did it. You know, I'm loving Karrion Cross. I really hope they have a plan with this. I just don't want them just to do it to give him something to do because Karrion Cross is so great right now. And I'm liking that he's attaching himself to Sami Zayn like the evil Jiminy Cricket type of character. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. It was great. It really sets the tone. They're building stakes here is what I like. They're making these qualifier matches really, really important because, you know, now they're doing it that whoever wins the King of the Ring gets a guaranteed title shot at SummerSlam. And this is very interesting because as we go through later on, we also see there was a new champion. Promos that absolutely killed. We finally got a Cena and CM Punk confrontation. Cena came out all smug, dissing the fans, yada, 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 same shit. Basically calling Punk a sideshow comedian. Punk immediately threw down the challenge at Night of Champions in Saudi. Sounds like the hype chillers for a showdown. What I really liked about this promo, Cena really didn't say much and he didn't have to, but in his eyes, he looked like he was more alive in a long time. You could tell, like, real talk, like he can't wait to work with CM Punk, and this is going to be magic. These guys tear the ring down every time they get involved with one another. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. We can't wait for this. This is amazing, and let's go. And then, of course, Ron Killings is back. He came out emotional thanks to fans, then cut off the dreads, cut off the braids, and said goodbye to that bullshit comedic era. Real talk, real respect. If we get Ron Killings, the TNA version of him, this is going to be absolutely motherfucking phenomenal. I am really excited and anxious to see where this character is going to go because he definitely showed a different side of him that we are not used to seeing. In the mid-card, we had Liv Morgan dropping a sneaky attack on Nikki Bella. This was right after the qualifier match. Nikki came out, talked some shit, saying, well, I don't really know where your man is. Obviously, Dom Mysterio and Rosie Perez is kind of sniffing around each other. Liv, you know, took that personally and hit her with Oblivion. So Could this be a potential program? Was Nikki a one-off? I don't know. We're gonna see what goes on. I do have to say, Nikki looked great here. She looks like she's ready to wrestle a little bit, so that's gonna really be interesting. It's gonna really be interesting. And then, like you said, the main event: Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, Uso gave it his all, but Gunther targeted the ribs, obviously, and locked in a sleeper until Jay just passed out. The crowd went wild as Gunther reclaimed the world title. Jay cut a really heartfelt speech after putting over Gunther and pretty much saying he'll be back. But we got to really talk about, like, the last sequence when these guys traded sleepers. And the crowd was absolutely on the edge of their seats, and that shows you that you don't necessarily have to do the dipsy doodles, the flippity flips, and the kicking out of 8,000 finishers, a billion Canadian destroyers. You could just do simple wrestling and tell a great story to keep the crowd, captivated. And this was a really old school wrestling match, and I will honestly say this was Jay's best to date. Gunther going over here is the right choice. Gunther is what that championship needs, taking nothing away from Jey Uso, but there's more faces on the Raw brand than like heels. You know what I mean? And if we can run it back with Sammy and Gunther, if Sammy happens to win that tournament, that's very exciting. I am very excited for where Raw is going at this current moment. My final verdict, this is an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Bayley return was fire. Punk and Cena tease is always fucking, I'm for it. Ron Killings chopping it off, jumping on a new persona, and probably one of the best world title matches on TV I saw in a quite long time. Raw hit all the right notes. Some mid-carder bullshit, but overall this show slapped. Things that I'm looking forward to, I want to see where Karrion Kross go. I want to see if Nikki Bella comes back. Is she going to play a role? Was that just a runoff? I also want to see with Jay, where do you go from here? What do you do? Is the yeeting still popular? Did the yeeting run its course? We got to stay tuned. But I think Raw was a very good show. It was way better than a fucking pay-per-view. But I do feel like let's not lose Lyra in this journey. I'm happy Bayley's back, but let's let that story finish out, and then Becky and Bayley can just go for it. They don't need to go for it over the title. That could be a classic grudge match at SummerSlam. Grudge matches still work if booked correctly, and so far this has been booked correctly. So let's just don't lose Lyra in the shuffle. Let's get that belt back on her. Let's submit her as a true top star, up-and-coming star in that wrestling federation. So like always, this is the Duo's Corner. Like, comment, and subscribe. And catch this super kick. You feel me? And also, by the way, Ruby dropped her X-Men Uncanny 9 review. It will be literally right up above here, or maybe in the ending credits. Not sure how she set it up, but make sure you check that out, and we'll see you in the next time.